for Likkle Byte Ideas, where we discuss how Likkle ideas are transformed into big dreams. On the toolkit, and you will access a lot of resources. A lot of the information that we presented here today, there are a lot of activity sheets, so we encourage you to download some of that information. Also, there's a digital swag bag with Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, February 15th, and I hope everyone had a wonderful Valentine's Day. We had such a great couple last week ahead of Valentine's Day, a power couple, and they demonstrated that you can really mix love and business and get some harmony there. But let me get my co-host in so we can get today's discussion started.
Well, hi, Dorit. I guess you had a really great Valentine's Day because you said it's Tuesday. It's Wednesday.
Oh, my goodness.
It's Wednesday. So Tuesday is over. Valentine's Day is over. I know you must be celebrating 2 days in one. Okay.
Oh, my goodness. I wish.
Well, hello to everyone. We're so glad you're here today.
Yes, and I was just reminiscing about last week's show where we had a dynamic duo, Mitzi and Howard Allen, and they took us down memory lane and talked about the legacy of their filmmaking, their relationship, their marriage. What a great story. If you haven't,
and finances
last week. Yes, and finances, of course, how they make the business work. So they're definitely trailblazers in film. And of course, it's February and we're celebrating Black entrepreneurship throughout Black History Month. We say in Antigua and Barbuda, every day is Black History. Well, every month is Black History Month. We celebrate all year round.
All year round.
And I am so excited about our guest this week. We have Mr. Patrick Spencer. He is the managing director of Spencer Service Center. It's on Factory Road. And believe it or not, it was always there when I was growing up. I never even stopped to think about how long it had been around, but we're now discovering that this service center has been around for almost 70 years. Now that's a legacy.
Wow.
So we'd love to welcome Mr. Spencer to our studio. Welcome, Mr. Spencer.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Yeah, thank you. Good to see you.
Thanks for being here.
You too.
Yeah, we're so happy to put a face to the service center. Lots of us go there. We purchase gas and we never get to see.
Okay.
I remember over the years you had very friendly attendants, but we never get to see who's in charge.
Oh, we know who's in charge.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's
thank
certainly,
you for the compliment.
It's certainly something to be said when a business can stay afloat through all the changes, technology, different generations, and to be still around and still be active and being a vibrant business says a lot about your family, the legacy. We want to hear a bit more about your dad who started this business, but we want to take everyone down memory lane. We have a before and after picture of Spencer Service Center so that everyone can see what it looked like 70 years ago. So, of course, on the left, you may have to zoom in a bit closer to see, but we tried to get even the vehicles. I don't know how we managed to do that. 2 Black vehicles.
Yeah.
So I guess that other vehicle was the equivalent of a luxury SUV back in the day, huh?
And I'm telling you, I'm aging myself because I remember this SO Service Center. I remember that.
Well, yes.
Oh my goodness.
SO was the brand back in the day. And so, we're happy to see that at least they had pictures back then and someone had the presence of mind to capture it so we can make the comparison today.
Yes, very nice. Very nice.
Very, very nice. All righty. So, Mr. Spencer, we want to hear so much about your family business, and I understand
Yes.
your dad started this business years ago. Take us back down memory lane. We're going to fill up a tank of gas, and you're going to take us
Yes.
back down memory lane to tell us how this business came into being.
Right. Yeah. Well, okay. So let's go back a bit. It's like an offshoot from the bus business, right? My father was a pioneer in the bus business back then, since 1940, and so of course the bus moved with fuel. So of course, as time went on, he found ways of trying to get fuel in bulk, and so the opportunity came up where ESSO was, in Antigua. They're making some plans to have persons, apply for like a dealership. So my father did apply for one of the dealership, and he was successful. And so the bus. So as far as fuel was concerned, it was really more accessible for the buses to get fuel back then. Okay, so it would have my older brothers would have been there along with the early workers. So my father, of course, would be dealing with the buses, and would come down to the service center occasionally if there's a mechanical problem. But my older brothers Ted and Bert, they were there in the earlies, in holidays and on weekends. And so it got started as about 1955, actually, sometime in 1955. And yes, they were the early members of the family. Then we had Lowell, my other older brother. He managed it for a few years, like in the early 60s, for a number of years. And then we had a little break for about 4 years. And then eventually the children of my father, yes, 7 of us, we came together to buy the assets then of the business, and that was about 1975. So those were some of the happenings from the earliest.
So was it in 1975
And
it was named Spencer Service Center? Or it had the name before that?
yes, yes, because no, by this time, SO may have been still around, but they were looking to pull out of Antigua, right? And so yes, it became Spencer Service Center then, operated by 7 members of my family, as I said. My brother, the chairman, we had my Mrs. Peach, Gwyneth, Jerry, Tommy, Marilyn, and myself. So we took turns in managing. We all of us had jobs, right? We had our individual jobs, so we took turn in being down there to keep things in order. We're there. We pump gas, do some servicing, and manage things. And it has its challenges, like everything. All business has its challenges, and we certainly had our challenges. But we, because we had some mechanical background, sometimes some of the technical things were reduced to not so much of a problem, because we were able to handle some of the technical situations. The traffic back then, by the way, of course, nothing like now. We had just a few cars, right? Had a few cars.
I was going to ask about that.
And a few more service centers.
Right.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Traffic was just a handful, and 1 or 2 stations came in between the 70s and the 80s. So once the other stations began to come on board, well, from ever since we always try to emphasize customer service, right? And that is one of our strong points over the years, because we try to give the customers honest, good service. And we had that philosophy back then, and we still have it to today. And so, yeah, as I said, we had our challenges, and we tried our best to cope with them as best
You
we
told
could.
me, Mr.
Yes,
Spencer.
I remember, in fact, when I started going down there. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. You go ahead.
Hello, sorry?
No, you go ahead,
No, I was
Mr.
about to say
Spencer.
when I started going there as a young man, I remember the fuel was. Oh, thank you. Now I was saying that we called fuel was about 72 cents a gallon for the. We
I
had
was
regular.
going
We
to
had two
ask
types.
that.
We had the
I was
regular
going to ask
and what we
what
used to
fuel
call the
was
high
back in the day.
or the premium. You're going to ask that. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
72
Wow.
cents.
So
So
we had two types of fuel
that
then,
would be in the 70s or the 60s? When do
This would
you
have been
recall
in
it being
the 60s, early 70s, late.
so
Sorry,
72 cents? Wow. So 72 cents.
I didn't hear that. Sorry,
And so it was
72 cents for the
72 cents a
regular
gallon.
and
Wow.
84 cents for what is called the premium. Yes,
Wow.
Okay.
yeah.
And
And
what is it
we
what is
see
it today?
now it's only about $15 on it.
Wow.
Well, it's close to
Unbelievable.
$15 now per gallon, and it
Wow.
was actually it went a little more than that at one point, but it came down a little bit. Yeah, so
Mhm.
we have moved from that point to now, you know.
No,
I
I
So
tell
remember
we
you,
had
you had
to
that
said,
context.
maneuver all that situation, you know.
I remember when we spoke, Mr. Spencer,
Sorry,
you told me that your service center was the first 24 hours service center. Tell us about that.
yes, that's right. So okay, that came about in the late 50s. We about 58 approximately, right? Right. And what happened? You know, the American base. You remember the American base was around, right,
Oh
after
yeah.
the Second World
Uh-huh.
War, and there was a lot of activities taking place at the base in the evenings. And you know, I think
Oh.
the factory was going, you know, sugar factory went up, and then the bosses, my father had bosses. Some of them used to do night runs, eh? Yes. Example,
Oh.
there was a movie run on a Friday night, Saturday night.
A
So my
movie
father decided, you
run.
know, something. There's a bit of activity taking place in the night, so they
Mm-hmm.
decided to do the 24-hour operation back then to accommodate, to facilitate the night
Mm-hmm.
activities at the base
Mm-hmm.
and you know other activities locally.
Okay.
Wow,
That,
times have
Yes.
really changed.
and that was innovative of him
Of
to
course.
recognize the market and make sure he
Positioned himself.
position himself for that. That's great.
Yeah. Right.
He was clearly a
Right.
businessman.
Right. And my father was a person who's always well. My father really had some good ideas, you know. And I must say, right. Let me. I just go back a bit. It all started at Stephen R. Men's. Okay, the genesis of the
Oh
Oh,
bus
that's
business.
wow.
My father worked as
That's
a
where the
mechanic.
cars were.
Um,
yeah.
um, he was a bread van driver, and he learned the trade pretty well. He taught a lot of people the trade, you know, over the years, and he would have assisted the people in many spheres of life, you know. So he just thought it was always about service, right? And he wanted persons to be able to get fuel. As a matter of fact, not only were we 24 hours a day, but we used to go 7 days a week back then, you know.
Whoa.
And we did
24/7.
the full complements. We not only sold oil and gas, and now we were the first service center. Now we weren't the first like fuel station per se, but
Mm-hmm.
the early fuel stations they dealt with fuel only, you know, fuel and oil. But once we came on board in the 50s, we started doing
Mm-hmm.
what they call some minor servicing, oil change, you know, that kind of thing, grease up, grease. And back in the day, many of the vehicles had nipples at the various joints, at the various steering ends, and you know the drive shafts and so they all had nipples. So greasing up was a very important part of the operation back then.
Oh
So
wow.
yes, we had from the picture that was taken in '61. You saw a car on the hoist, and another one waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and of course we did this
Oh,
tire service back then, and we did all the compliment, all the necessary things, you know, to keep the vehicle going. As a matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
I can recall as a young man there while going grammar school, while we were still going 24 hours a day, and one of the guys didn't come to work, or he reported he's not coming for 10 o'clock. And my mother told me, well, told me I have to go down, you know, to give a hand. And I was like, for the 10 o'clock shift. And I did it a couple of
yeah.
times while going to school. And my older brothers, they had their shift there too. And the interesting thing about the first night I did that, I recall, I think it was a doctor who came in about after 2 o'clock the morning with a punctured tire, after two, right? and I guess he probably went to see a patient, but I don't know what. And so I was so happy to fix his tire after 2 o'clock in the morning, right, to get him going. Yeah, back then we had some things called tubeless tires, and we had, so you had to kind of pump up, see the leak, put a sort of a blade in it, a sort of a rough part, plug it, cut it off, and then go again. That was the order of the day to fix a tubeless tire. Now we have to patch it from inside, right? That's
Oh,
tire.
wow.
So, and there were lots of other. We had some interesting times. That was just one of the things I remember, as a young man. But then, as I said already, we all took turns in managing, and we had different things to the operation. Like presently, now we have a muffler service, a full car wash service, and we have the tire service. Yeah, we have that still. And as I said, we had to keep up to date with different things. And as DeWitt said earlier, like a little mini mart, a little, you have to have other products now. The customers now, and they don't more than gas. They need a top up. They need something to eat and so on. So we provide some light snacks and so on at the moment, to ensure the customer is satisfied when they come in. They're able to
So
get
you
their fuel
have
and other items that they so desire.
so you and your brothers have continued your father's legacy. He saw the changes that were
Yes.
happening. He positioned the service center for those changes, and you and your brothers are continuing that and making
Yes.
the necessary changes to suit the
Yes.
market. That's
Brothers
good.
and sisters. Yeah, brothers and
That's
sisters and
business
sisters
101.
and
Oh,
sisters.
brothers and sisters,
Teaching
sorry.
also.
Yeah.
And
So-
sisters,
And the
yes,
other-
they can, yes. Sister Peach is very much a
Yeah.
part of it now,
Yeah.
Mhm.
The other
Yeah,
observation
sorry, you said
that
something.
the other observation that I'm making, because we're talking about this service center, but we're actually taking a trip through time and looking at how the entire landscape has changed.
Changed. So true.
And that's the role in doing some research for this show. That's the role that service centers around the
Yes.
world play. They play a very unique role in the community. They're almost like the watering hole. People have to stop.
Yes,
People
yes.
typically have loyalty to one service station.
Yes.
We all have our service station of choice
Yes,
that we go
absolutely.
to. I was thinking in
Yes,
Antigua,
that's right. That's right.
you don't have that many choices, and here you'll say, oh, this person, their premium oil, their premium gas is not as good as the other one. In Antigua, I don't know that you had too many choices,
Yeah.
and so to
I
keep
think
the
it comes
customers
down to-
coming back,
It comes down to
Well,
the customer.
not
it comes down
there's
to
no.
customer service.
We don't have.
Because the product itself is not something
Yeah.
that people
Yes.
like
Absolutely.
engage.
Yeah. 'Cause-
So it comes down to customer service and cultivating those relationships
Yes.
that keep people coming back. Location, of course,
Yes.
plays a huge factor, but still, even with your location,
Yes. Yes.
people have choices.
Yes.
So to be able to have that staying power
Yeah.
for almost 70
Absolutely.
years speaks volumes
Yes,
to the
absolutely.
level of service. So we kind of
Yes,
coined this, you guys are at the
Yes,
junction of Factory Road and Queen Elizabeth Highway, sort of. So we kind of see you as being at the
That's
junction
correct.
of
That's correct.
business and service to community.
Mhm. And really,
Yes,
if you
absolutely.
probably
And
don't have the
well,
time,
speaking of
but
community,
his family is big on service to community.
Absolutely. Tell us a bit about that, Mrs. Spencer, because I understand your
thank you.
dad was definitely community minded.
well, I tell you something, very much so. And as I said, it started when he started driving that bread van for men, Stephen R. Men's, back in the late 30s.
Hold that thought.
So
What's
it
a
goes
bread
like this.
van?
He actually
A van that carries bread?
It's a little van that was. I mean, they could they could carry other items in today's world, but back in the day, they had a little van that predominantly carried bread. I mean, bread and bun and a baker's van there,
Delivery.
a little van.
So it was
So-
delivering
he
bread.
drove-
So back
A
then.
delivery van.
Okay.
Sorry? A delivery van.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mm.
So yes. So what happened now? So he I think, yeah, I heard a story that he used to get a little commission when the bread when they returned, when they're not sold and they return. So he had a habit of giving people the bread, right? Give the bread that was to be. He got a commission. I think he was allowed 2 or 3 bread, and he would give those bread away to people. So people used to look forward to him coming to the different villages, right? So that when he bring the fresh bread to take him back, they look forward to getting, the bread that was left over. And back, I mean, that was big thing back in the day. And of course, he would have given the odd person a lift to town in the bread van. So he saw the need for public transportation. Hence, he got into the bus business, right?
That's
Okay.
nice.
And so he started the thing about community service, giving to people. And, persons went to the Virgin Islands back in the day. He would assist the mechanics, who worked with him, apart from getting good training. Some of them who went to England, he would have assisted them. They made Antigua proud. They made him proud because my father used to get letters from companies in England wanting to know if he had any more graduates, because the guys them were so well trained and could fix engines so well. He used to get letters from England, right?
Oh,
Asking for more graduates, because we heard a couple of stories. And of course, you may have heard the one about when he went to Trinidad in 1943. He had a medical problem of gallstone, and the doctor had a problem with his car, and he asked the doctor what they did with the old carburetor. The doctor told him, well, they threw it away. He said, but throw it away, I think I can fix it. Now, my father was a patient, He went to the Port of Spain hospital to have an operation. And the doctor said, you're a patient. What you want to know about with the carburetor? He said, I believe I can fix it. The doctor called my father's bluff. And the doctor called the garage. I think the name of the company was Charles McInerney, I think, back in the day. And to show the authenticity of what I'm saying, the doctor was one Dr. Mohammed. And he called him and asked them what they did with the old carburetor, and they said, we dumped it. And they said, well, can you bring it can you get it here? Can you bring? They said, doc, but we changed the carburetor. They said, no, bring it. There's a small island man here, say he can fix it. So they brought the carburetor, and my father asked for pliers and screwdriver, went in a little room and did his little, what he knew he had to do, took out the jets and so on, clean and whatever. And he asked them to try it. And the mechanic put it on the car, took off the new one, tested the car for about an hour, and then called the manager and said, listen, this man know what he's doing, This man good. Well, the story goes like this. The manager wanted to offer my father a job in Trinidad, and say we give him a house and so on. My father said, no, I have my family to take care of. No, it's best to come and they want him to stay down there. Anyway, so that was the sort of things he would do. He was pretty good at mechanics.
Wow.
That was one of the many things.
You know what, Patrick?
He did,
I just had a vision. Had a vision. Who had the mechanic shop at Tomlinson? Was that your dad or your brother?
That was my brother Keithley.
Oh
Keithley
my goodness,
was the one
that's
that had the shop at Tomlinson.
Spencer's father.
You remember that?
Patrick Paget's father.
Oh, really?
That's right. That's Connie's dad. Paget, that's correct.
I never made that connection.
He passed
when he was talking about the buses.
Well, no.
Something was churning in my head. And I'm like, wait a minute. This story sounds so familiar. And then I said, you know what? I bet you his brother. And I don't know if I ever met Honey's father. I don't have a vision of him, but I just remember I knew the father had a mechanic shop at Tomlinson.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mr. Spencer, boys were very versed in mechanic work. All the boys.
Yes, the boys. Yeah. Yes, most of a few of my brothers are just there. Keithley, Jerry, Gerald, Peter. They are they're the boss. They're very good mechanics. Jerry's both electrical and mechanical. Not very easy aircraft engineer. It's just time to tell you more about the mechanical aspect of things, right? We'll probably do another program for that by itself, because there are many stories about how they saved a lot of persons' money. And my father would have actually fixed a lot of persons' vehicle and did not charge them money, and so he would just fix them and tell them, go ahead. And that was the kind of community person he was, and organized help a lot of churches and individuals. And let me switch a bit back to the SO now. So when he was like supposed to be SO, and he got SO was up and running, and he got familiar with the management, and so he spoke to the management, the head office, about sponsoring the chorale, the church, the singing groups in Antigua. I think most of the churches had like a little chorale competition, and he got SO to sponsor it back then.
Oh, fantastic!
So many of those nice voices. Yeah. So and I mean, he did so many other things for the community, apart from fixing people's car and helping them. That if he's going down the road and he thinks that you need a lift, he will turn around and give you a lift in the opposite direction.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll tell you about his generosity. He'll about, okay, let me leave this one with you. So he goes down the road, sees this man walking, picks up the man. He don't know the man. He never saw the man. Brings the man home. Asks my mother to prepare lunch for him. He's a friend. He just met him. My mother gave the gentleman a nice lunch because my mother could cook. Okay, my mother and my sisters, they could cook. Back in the day, a lot of auntie ladies. And so the gentleman was given a big plate of food. My father didn't know him. Nobody knew him. He ate heartily, and he asked for another plate. Somebody did not even know. Well, the result of that was when my father came inside now because he's working hard. When he came inside later for his lunch, my mom just gave him a fraction of what he normally gets. And he said, but this is not my amount. He said, but the gentleman he brought, he had 2 plates of food. Okay? So that's just an idea of his generosity.
That is funny.
To give an idea.
That's nice.
That is funny. Well, listen, this has been a great conversation. Let's take a break. Let's see if we have any questions, and then we want to share with you an ad from the 50s, an SO ad, just to take you back on the journey back to the beginnings of Spencer's Service Station, Service Center. Megan, do we have any comments or any questions?
Just some comments. Mandy Thomas is saying good afternoon. Hi, Mandy. Kara, she's taking up the board. Kara says the man himself, Spence. You know Kara? And she says, wow, SO. Yes, that takes you back, right? Then June Jackson says, that's a great family legacy. And that's so true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I also understand that some of the grandchildren are continuing in the mechanic aspect of the business. So we'd love to hear about that.
We definitely want to hear about that.
Yes. And Giselle says, hi, Patrick, my old villager. Which village is that? St. Johnson's Village?
I guess.
I believe
so. Yes.
Johnson. So you know Giselle?
St. Johnson Village.
Right. Yes. She says old villager. Those are all the comments we have so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to in the 50s. Not sure exactly what year, but we were able to find an ad. So let's go back. We're filling up another tank of gas, and we're going back.
Going down memory lane.
And we're bypassing Spencer Service Center. So let's get that ad up, Sienna.
When you drive into the Esso sign, you know for sure that the service is fine. The Esso train dealer that you will see there is an expert in finest car care. He checks your gasoline and your oil. From your windshield he wipes away all the soil. And your radiator he'll check and refill. Esso service comes with a will. The The products he uses to service your car bear the SO name that is known near and far. You are sure whenever you go for a drive that your automobile is alive. Drive right away to the SO sign. Give your neighborhood SO man time to shine. You'll smile as you drive on your way and you'll sing. That's the sign of happy motoring. Doo-doo-doo.
Always look to Imperial for the best.
Great. Yep.
Memory
I-
lane.
That was the Milo one.
Can we get this? Can
Sorry,
we
that was
get,
the Milo one. They had the other one about putting the tag in the tank.
Tiger in the
yes,
tank. Let's get the
we have
tiger up.
Sorry,
we have
go ahead.
a flyer, a poster. Can we get that up? There you go. Put in the tiger in
There
your
it is. There
chair.
it is.
Yep.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
I seem to remember this. I remember in my consciousness as a kid, I remember the tiger.
Tiger. Yes, there was a tiger associated with
Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember a tiger kind of like,
Yes.
going. I remember a tiger. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Well, that
And there
was
was
a
some
really
music to
good
it. They had
trip
some
down
music.
memory lane.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, it's well, as I said already, it's been quite a while, and we've had the members of the family, both our brothers and sisters. They've given a hand at different stages, and Peach and myself still keeping the business going by the Jerry. So we're still playing our part. And yes, you had mentioned about the younger ones.
Yes.
Yes. I'd like to hear how involved. So this would be the third generation.
Yes, just about, yes.
Uh-huh.
So we have interest still. There's still interest. Their interest in the mechanical aspect of it also. Keatley, who we spoke about, Keatley, yes, my brother Keatley is one of. Keatley has about 3 sons who are into mechanic. One does a lot of
wow.
electrical stuff for the yachts, them, and
Oh, nice.
George is following in his footsteps. Yes, and there's Anthony, and they're all very good mechanics. Yeah, they can hold their own, if I must say. And of course, as I spoke about Brother Jerry and Peter already, and yes, my brother told me. Oh, by the way, my brother Bert, who's passed on, would not be pleased in the great beyond to know that I would not have mentioned that he would have tried some mechanic. He got his hands dirty occasionally, as he said. He could do a little thing, and Ted also. My brother Ted, they said
That's good to hear.
had a little
And
thing
I'm
at the
sure
service
the
center. I'm
audience
talking
is
in the
wondering.
50s, 60s.
And I'm sure the audience is wondering because we've heard about so many brothers and sisters. I'm sure for people who don't know your family, they're probably wondering, wait, how many children are we talking about here? So tell us about your family.
Well, as
Patrick.
I said, 14 of us.
That's
Well,
more than a quiver
I
full.
have 8 brothers and 5 sisters.
Wow.
Yeah, right. But from what I gather, it is a pretty common thing back in the day, those numbers.
That is true.
Yes, that's
those
true.
numbers. But, but our
Especially
parents,
if you can afford it.
they taught us well. And I tell well, I tell you what, my mother got a lot of help from her mom. My grandmom helped my mom quite a lot. And we had a few cousins who would come around back in the day, to give a hand, back. And some of them some even lived in with us. That's the sort of thing that took place in the day. And we have a cousin in Canada. There's a cousin in Canada who remembers a young lady who remembers very well. Her mother taught her all the values of life. And so when she went to Canada, she was able to use all those values and, the things that she taught about work, or how she the things that she learned, how to be domesticated, all the things came into play. And so she's thanking my mother so much. She lived in and she saw things, and she got a chance to practice all the things and in the house. And it was
those were the days when
back in the day, that was so.
had,
Yes, there were lots of us. Mother got some assistants, and
those are the days when the village raised the children.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
wasn't just mommy
Absolutely.
and daddy. It was granny, auntie,
absolutely.
And even the neighbors, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So,
Yes.
Brother Spence, one of the questions I want to
And
ask you
And
is
the big ones.
yes, the big ones helping the
Sure.
younger one.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the questions I wanted to ask, there's a little lag, but that's okay. So
Yeah.
we've
Oh, yeah,
seen
yeah.
how Spencer Service Center has evolved over the years, thanks to the foresight of your father, your brothers, your sisters, and yourself. And so we have Spencer Service Center as it is today.
Yes.
What
Yes.
what are we going to be seeing in the future
Yeah.
for Spencer Service Center?
Well, I tell you, it's possible you may see something that almost that should have taken place a few years ago. My brother Jerry, he's a very technical, man of business, and he actually drew up a plan way back in the 70s, and he had some very interesting things. I tell you what, unfortunately, he got very committed to Liat. My sister very committed to education. Bert had gone to Canada, and we had all these plans. But going forward, to answer the question, some of those plans could actually be implemented going forward.
Okay.
And yeah,
So we expect
the
to see
kind of
Spencer
modern
for
things you see happening, and
okay.
That's
So we
yes,
great.
expect
there,
to see
yes,
more and more.
there are possibilities.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, some of the younger ones indeed will like to.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know we have a lag. I have a question. With all this, and I see it a lot happening here in the United States, with the advent of the electric car. And of course, I think we're still several years
Yep.
away from that. But, after COVID, anything is possible. I'm just curious, how do you see
Yes.
the service center repositioning itself to address electric cars? I know they have a few in Antigua already. And of course, there's a lot of talk about,
Yes. That's right.
sustainability and their concerns about, the fumes and the pollution of petrol. That's something that I'm sure,
Yes.
it's probably
Fossil
not as
fuel.
huge a problem in Antigua, but certainly here there are people who complain about it.
It,
So,
it- it's something on the agenda for sure. It's something that's being talked about.
Yes. Yes.
yes, how do you see the gas
Yes.
station or
Absolutely.
service center of the future pivoting in light of this new type of energy, this new source of energy that's likely to, I don't know if take over, but it's likely to become a lot
Right.
more popular in,
Right.
I would say, the next 5 to 10 years.
Yes. Yes, very possible. So the big thing, of course, is those electric cars, those batteries, and
Yes,
the hours that they can stay up. Okay, so if in fact there can be improvements with those batteries to really keep them for longer hours, more and more electric cars will be sold, of course, right? And
hmm
going forward, I can see us having the charging ports, the charging
right,
stations, because as I said, maybe in 5 to 10 years here, we'll see an improvement, but on a wide scale, it probably will not happen before maybe about the next 15 years, to see more and
hmm
more electric cars. So you'll probably have more and more charging ports, right? So yes,
exactly.
it may be a mixture of charging ports for the
The
electric
hybrid
cars,
cars are very popular already.
and so we'll have to have like a section. The hybrids are also popular, yes, and So
hmm
going forward, stations may just obviously have a section where you can get your charge. You put your batteries, your charging ports, and the fossil fuel for those that are still remaining. But like you said, well, maybe it's another 20 years before we see more. Yeah, let's say 80% electric and 20% fossil fuel.
Mhm.
But it's
Okay.
something that we will be definitely looking into, because it's a
hmm
reality. The electric cars are here, but
Absolutely.
they're not flooding the market yet. But we'll have to adjust accordingly.
Yeah, I think it's going to come from the younger generation. The kids who have gone away to school, I could see my children
Yeah, yeah,
in another couple of years. They're very
yeah,
environmentally
yeah.
conscious. I could see them insisting that, we
Right.
have to save the earth. And,
Right. Absolutely.
I can see that happening very soon.
Yes, yes.
So
But you know what?
let, uh-huh.
Absolutely. But the thing we Need to start it.
I didn't hear that.
Say that again, Mrs. Spencer.
No, just that we need to start it. I was saying we need to start the process, and they can expand in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Very true. Very, very
Yep.
true. Mhm.
Yep, we can't let a 70-year legacy fall behind. So what gas stations or what
We try our
service
best
centers,
to keep it going.
Mhm.
with what service centers / gas stations are still around from, let's say, the 50s and 60s, or any other stations still in
Oh,
operation?
yeah. Well, you would have Mr. Robinson. Mr. Robinson been around for a
Oh,
while
that's
also.
right. That's
True.
right.
Mr. Robinson,
That's
yeah.
another legacy. Yes.
That's one. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think that.
Bellevue came on a little later.
Yeah, I remember
Yes.
when
Bellevue came on a
Bellevue.
little later.
Yeah, was it
That's
the
by
70s?
the-
I think I remember when Bellevue was
Yeah, that
built.
was, yes, yes, that was later.
It's the late 70s. Late 70s,
Yes,
80s.
I remember.
Yes. But definitely, and
And
the
then
one
came much
and
later.
Western is all actually invested. The one at the market, the
Yes.
service center at the market, and one at
Yes.
the airport. Yes, yes. And Larry and the Fries Road. Those are Western is all
Right.
stations, right? And
Right.
but the one in the
But
market,
those
came
that was
more
around back in
recently.
the 70s. Yeah.
Oh, really? Larry was there in the 70s?
No,
On
no, no.
Fries
Larry
Road?
came on
Maybe in the
more like
90s.
in the late sorry,
Right.
my apologies, Mr. Percival. Percival is also around. Yes,
Oh, yes,
Mr.
Percival,
Percival, yes,
yes,
he would have
that's
been there
right, that's right.
from in the 60s. 60s, yeah.
Yes, no, yes,
Oh, I
that's true.
see.
And,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
La-
that's
but
what I
Larry
remember.
was not okay. Okay,
Larry
about
would have been
Larry,
90s.
about Larry.
I think
Now
when I
Larry,
was in,
Mr. Hill, Radford Hill's father.
Yes.
where was their gas station?
I'm trying to remember.
Sorry,
Yeah, where
which one?
where
Sorry?
was
Hill.
Mr. Hill's gas station? Where was that?
Yeah, good. Right, Larry. That's where Larry is presently. Mr. Hill operated
Oh.
there first.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
And once when Mr. Hill
Okay.
gave up, this Larry who took over.
Mhm.
Yes.
I
so-
see. Okay. Okay.
and
Wow.
that would have
Wow.
been back in the late 70s. Yeah, in the 70s also. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. So those are the
Okay.
ones that still around from back in the day.
And
So-
is it like other industries? I mean, it's definitely, you don't have a monopoly, but maybe it's more like an oligopoly. I mean, there's enough for every station to have its own market share. It's not like there was ever a flood in the market of gas stations / service centers. It's always been just enough to service. Everybody can get their nice little slice of the pie, correct?
Well, correct. And well, some will do a little more in volume than others. Hence the need to have other products to
Yes.
to complement the fuel, because the fuel on its own is not really a big money earner. We have to extend a lot of money to get fuel, but the returns are not like other like so the drinks and tires and other things. Yeah, but most
Yes.
of the stations would have had they have the customers, and some do a little more than others. Yeah, but everyone can
Don't forget
get a little
ice.
piece of the pie, as they say, if you put in the effort.
Yeah. So what about what I want
The
to
ice,
find
no,
out?
don't forget ice. No, ice. Don't forget ice. No.
Don't forget ice.
So over the years, Mr. Spencer, you
No,
would have, or at least your gas station, your service center,
Yes.
you've been here for a while, but you would have had some, I would imagine, situations where, from a financial point of view, things got a little tight, but you're still here. Tell
Yes.
us about what you or your
Yes.
family, what you've done over the years, what perhaps little tips, perhaps
Challenges
you've done
and
that
hurdles. Yeah.
helped you with your financial situation.
Okay. Okay. So about that now, because fuel, right? And back in the day, a good 90% of what we carried as fuel, right? Now it's more split. We have the oils and other things. So now what happened? Yeah, you go through a rough patch. You have periods where things are not what they ought to be. But for thank God, the family members. So we would have meetings, and we will actually inject into the business to keep things going. We did things like that, and it's very necessary, and also finding ways to improve on the products and that sort of thing. In fact, one of the things that we did in the 80s, the service department was a bit more lucrative by far than the fuel. So I took on that challenge to do the servicing, the grease up, the oil change, to keep things going, right? That was an area back then, and perhaps still is, where make a little revenue, right? But the work has to be done. The
Yeah.
work, I mean, it's not just to say, well, you have a service department. You have to grease up the cars. You have to change the oil, and you have to actually. I did that for a couple of years. Got an assistant to help me. I had a young man they was trying to mold, right? Back then, talking about in the late 70s. And this guy was, let me just give you this is a light moment. This guy was into boxing. So he used to spend a good 70% on the job looking through boxing magazines. And when I was our things to the man, he said, well, busy man, busy. And his busyness was one oil change and one grease up. But of course, he was making, he got a good change then. So I realized that was not sustainable. So we had a mutual talk, and I showed him how it ought to be done. Because I told him when he came, I showed him, but he was more into looking at the boxing magazine. So I take it over myself, and then I had a situation where we moved from one change to 8, and that kind of thing, all by being there and getting it done.
Right.
And that's one of the things, by the way, I enjoyed doing at the service center over the years. Those days of doing oil changes and greasing up. Yeah, it was very necessary. Like I said, most of the cars and vehicles then they had they were called grease nipples at the steering ends and other parts of the front, to keep. And so it is necessary to grease them up, and I enjoy doing that. You know, of course we got other persons along the way, and yeah. So those, and by the way, before I forget, let me pay great tribute to our early attendance, Mr. Late Joseph Marshall from Bethesda originally, Potter's, the standard bearer for service at Spencer Service Center back in the day. Now we have had a few persons who have come close, right? I must say, in customer service, and we're thankful for that. But in everything, you always have someone who is exceptional. And Mr. Joseph Marshall the late, he was very much a part of keeping Spencer Service Center together back in the day. And the 24 hours. Matter of fact, on the 24-hour shift, those 24-hour shift, right? If we had more time, I would tell you how we developed into becoming one of the best electrical guys in Antigua. But for another time, I'll tell you, he stayed right there at nights.
You're
did
full
a
of
correspondence.
stories.
Well, when you're talking
And
legacy,
Yeah.
But I think there are lots of stories, but
no, but what I
yeah,
mean,
well,
stories are synonymous with legacy.
yes, that's right. It's hard to leave out something
You
when you're
have to
talking
tell the
legacy.
story.
And what I like about your stories,
Well,
Mr.
yes, that's
Spencer,
absolutely. I know, and then yes,
your stories are showing that it's not a one-man
yes,
show. It started with your father. It has been passed on to his children, but you're also showing the stories
yes,
also speak about other persons who
yes,
have helped along the way, and that to me just
yes,
shows again a bit about your community service. How you help others, and you haven't said
yes,
a lot about yourself, but I know you yourself have helped others. So
yes,
you're walking in your father's shoes as well.
And with any business,
yeah.
especially one
People
that
have
has
told
a
me so.
long run, Yeah, with any business, especially one that has a long run,
Yeah.
you can count on
No, yeah.
the business having a ups and downs. And I think in this particular case, your business responded to some
Yes.
of the changes in society.
Oh,
As
absolutely.
society developed, you then had to adjust your business accordingly.
Sure.
That's evident. Yeah.
Well, we are
Yes,
almost
absolutely.
out of time. Before we
Yes,
wrap it up,
absolutely. I'm ready.
go ahead, Mrs.
We
Spencer.
we are. I'm dead. So
Yep,
thanks.
we
I'm
are.
not. I mean, sorry. Look, I am. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. I know you. I know you're busy, ladies. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, that's all
Oh,
right.
no, we've
But let
been
me say
enjoying
before you go.
it.
Sorry, before you go, let me just thank the present staff.
Mm.
Let me thank the present staff for their cooperation. And during the COVID, we really did a few nice things for them. I wouldn't have to say all, but we tried. We and Sister Peach was at the forefront, right, of doing a lot of the nice things for the staff. And of course, we had meetings, and we continue to try our best to, but emphasize mainly in the customer service. And we try to make sure our staff are healthy and strong. We
But I can tell
buy
you,
fruits for them at times, just to make sure that they keep off the COVID. That's a light moment.
well, I can tell you, every time I come to your service center, I always get excellent service. There's a particular young
Yeah.
man, I actually did tell you about him. I don't know his name, but oh my goodness, he
Yes.
acts as if he's manager. And he has a take charge kind of attitude, and the first
Yes.
thing he says is good morning or good afternoon, and lovely, very,
Yes.
very lovely guy. And I always feel
Yes.
a little special. You go to the gas station,
I'm
it's no
happy.
biggie, but he makes you feel special. So I'm very, very glad for that. You're doing something.
Well, like we started by saying, gas
Thank you very
stations
much.
started out
I'm gonna
by
pop.
being, they started out by being functional, entities. And over time, as society shifted and communities developed, they've had to expand to be multi-purpose enterprises. And I mean, I think that is definitely one of the
Absolutely.
elements that give you staying power, the extent to which you can respond to the needs of society. Mrs. Spencer, we're going to give you a last opportunity to really wrap up the legacy of your family's business, and we want to hear the legacy that you want to leave behind. But let's take a break, and we're gonna play a message from SFCG. We have a conference coming up on March 2nd. It's called Financial Wellness TLC, Talk, Learn, Commit. For anyone who wants to learn more about money management, making good money management a lifestyle choice, how to shift your mindset, it's definitely something you should check out. So we're going to play the ad, and when we come back, we will get final words from Mr. Patrick Spencer about his family's legacy and what you personally would like to leave behind as your contribution to the legacy. Great. So, Mr. Spencer, we're going to wrap it up. And so tell us, what would you like to see in the future, and how would you summarize the legacy that you want to see, you want to leave behind?
Okay, firstly, before I answer it, I'd like to tell you the young man's name, Megan, you spoke about, his name is Aziba, but I would like to also compliment Maldin and Diane. Okay, they all play their part, but the young man, his name is Aziba, but the others who are trying to keep the customer service going, right? So we thank the rest of the staff. Yes, about the legacy. Well, certainly, I would certainly love to see the the, the things that our father, the values that our parents left with us, right? To just be hardworking, be honest, give good customer service, have respect, right? Have respect for everyone, both employee and customers. And and these are the values that we are taught, right? And we hope that that legacy continues about hard work, honest work, and of course the legacy about the business that we hope that it will actually move into the next phase, with the younger generation in the family, and some of them we are not very capable, and we would just love to be around to see the process and move to the next stage. And if we are blessed to be around, yes, we would love to be there to give them a little hand in whatever way. And we hope that really the staff continues to recognize that it is customer service that makes the big difference. That's the legacy.
Absolutely. But we want to thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. It was a great trip down memory lane. We're out of time, but next week we invite everyone to come back. We will be joined by, if we can get the flyer up, the indomitable Valerie Hodge from Lookout, Shirley Heights. Her entire family has been in the hospitality business, and she will be our guest next week as we wrap up Black Entrepreneurship. This has been a great show. We want to thank our technical staff, Sienna, Nicholas, and Alia, for the support that they provide behind the scenes. Again, check out our conference. Go to our website, samuelfieldsconsulting.com. And also be sure to like us on Facebook and Instagram, and definitely like us on YouTube and subscribe as well, so that you don't miss out on anything. It's been a great show, and we want to thank you for joining us. We'll see you back.
We have a few more comments to read before.
Okay, go right ahead.
We have a few more comments.
Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Well, Kara says
I was saying thanks.
Go ahead, Brother Spence. Go ahead.
Many thanks.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for sharing. What a great story.
So,
no, sorry, I was saying thank you much for having me. And
I'm just reading a few more comments.
I hope it was very enlightening,
It was.
Yes,
it was. So listen to the comments, Mr. Spencer. Someone is saying Kara is saying we need another interview with Mr. Spencer. I think so.
I totally agree.
Okay.
I'd like to hear the rest of it. And bring Peaches with you.
Exactly. June Jackson says, great interview, Mr. Spencer,
Okay.
and best wishes.
Okay, well,
Janice Davis Asidu says, greetings. Hi, Janice.
okay. Thank you. Thank.
Norma Samuel said she tuned in late, but Norma, you got to go back to YouTube and watch it. You've missed a lot.
Yes, you did.
We have Kara. Oh, my goodness. Kara, you are the lady today. Wow. Next week, we'll be like, okay, fire, I guess is what she's saying. And June Jackson, I'm not quite sure. I think she's just giving a thumbs up. So that's what we have with our comments. So the persons who've been watching, they love you, Mr. Spencer. They love your story. And we're going to have to have
it's been a great story. Thank you so much for sharing. And all the best to you and your family and the next generation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you very much. And thank you for the compliments from the viewers. Thanks very much.
I have to say one more thing. I got a private message and the person said, it's so nice to hear of the unsung heroes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's what
I
you
felt
are.
that today.
That's what you are.
Absolutely. You and your
Thank you
entire
so much.
family.
Yes. All right. Let's wrap this up.
Okay, so we'll see you back here next
Okay,
week.
thank you,
Same time.
ladies, so much for having me and the company.
Our pleasure.
Fantastic.
All right,
Well,
folks.
another great edition, and
Next
we'll
week.
see everyone next week. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
you.
Bye-bye.